You've heard that eating local can do a lot of good for our farmers, our economy, and our ecosystem. And if we're all going to do our part to sustain the local food supply, there's an important link in the food chain you may not know much about. West Coast reduction. You see, West Coast reduction is key to having a sustainable local food supply. Here's the story in a nutshell. Farmers in our province raise livestock, which is sent to local food producers who turn it into meat, like this, and this, and this. In the process, there are lots of remnants left over. As they say, you can't process a chicken without ruffling a few feathers. Fact is, these food producers can't recycle these odds and ends. That's where West Coast reduction comes into the picture. West Coast recycles these leftover fats and proteins. They convert them into healthy, naturally balanced feed ingredients for local farms. That's why West Coast reduction is known as one of the original recyclers. Very environmentally smart. They also recycle leftover fat and protein into things you can find around the house. Things like soap, paint, and pet food. How much is recycled in this planet-friendly way? 1.6 million pounds every day. That's 250,000 tons of solid waste kept out of our landfills every year. Consider this. Metro Vancouver is aiming to reduce its waste by 500,000 tons, and West Coast reduction is taking care of a volume which is half of that. In fact, without plants like this one in the community, Vancouver would have no way to deal with waste from local meat, fish, and poultry industries, and those products would quickly find themselves at a dead end, because you can't just throw these remnants away. If waste from local meat industries ended up in a landfill, there's a great risk of disease, odor, and pollution. Contaminants could find their way into the water supply. But by rendering the meat industry's leftovers, we avoid all these pitfalls. We're talking thousands of tons of greenhouse gases. That's like taking 150,000 cars off the road every year. That's good for our environment and our carbon footprint. Just ask Mike Harcourt.
West Coast reduction takes care of the equivalent of hundreds of thousands of cars in the greenhouse gas emissions. As well, it serves over 100 meat processors and thousands of restaurants in the Lower Mainland. Now, if West Coast wasn't there to take away all of that organic waste, where would it go?
Local food producers would have to pay huge sums to have them trucked elsewhere. Then, to put more bad news on local farmers' plates, they would have to pay again to import more protein for feed, which means the cost of local meat would be unsustainable. You see, if local farms couldn't afford to operate, we'd have to import all our meat, fish, and poultry. Nutrients would be lost during transportation, and greenhouse gases would go up even more. Hard to swallow? Not only does West Coast reduction enable local farms to survive and thrive, they help local butcher shops stay in business, because they use their services too. Just ask Mike Suleiman from Tenderland Meats.
For the last 30 years, West Coast reduction has recycled our waste. They are the best thing in the meat industry, and without them, I don't know what we would do.
West Coast Reduction first opened their doors in 1964. BC owned and operated, they're deeply invested in community sustainability on every level. So why is the Vancouver operation where it is? The Port Metro Vancouver has the perfect ingredients: water access, road, and rail connections. Wondering how these recycling wonders work? The process is chemical-free. Think of West Coast reduction like a big kitchen. A kitchen stocked with all the latest gadgets. See, West Coast has committed to the most advanced technologies. They've invested millions in state-of-the-art odor control systems and have gone over and above to make their plant one of the best you'd find anywhere. In fact, West Coast is a model for best practices in urban rendering, and that's no small feat. But they don't stop there. They continue to invest in their plants, the environment, and the community by supporting local schools, charities, and hospitals. Dinner is served. Find out more at WCRL.com.